Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to the videos, the paid request, this time for Kenny. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting pretty much any type of video, topic, vlog, reaction, commentary, video game let's try, or review, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now this is for Hell House LLC Origins, the Carmichael Manor. Say that 10 times fast. Hell House LLC Origins, the Carmichael Manor. Now, apparently this is a franchise where this is the fourth film. I may have vaguely remember seeing the original. I think it was like in a hotel and a group of people wanted to create a haunted house attraction with this hotel. But then strange things happen. And these are found footage films. But that's all I remember from it. I don't think I ever saw the second or third one. So this is the fourth film where we're not at the hotel. We're going into this manor where this family around 1989 called the Carmichaels. It was a family where the daughter was killed in a car accident. And the older son, some shenanigans was going on. And we see through, I guess, 8mm footage, like throughout the film, what happened to that family. 2 of them were found dead, 2 of them were missing. But the main thrust of the story is you have these 3 people, Margot, Rebecca, and Margot's brother Chase. Margot, Rebecca, and Chase, some of them are part of this group called Net Sleuths, where they're going into what happened all this many years ago, see if we can find any information. We're going to stay at this manor for a few nights. And while we see about 4 or so nights of them staying at this place, the backdrop is we'll have interviews from people that knew Margot. One is a guy named Bradley, who's a co-founder of Net Sleuths. Another is this lady named Alicia, who's like a crime writer. To be honest, the Bradley and Alicia, I thought they were actually more interesting characters, and at least, maybe that's putting it too much, but more, I thought they were kind of better actors. And not that the acting of the leads are bad, it's just the lead, Margot, she's very hyper, and that's kind of the point, is that she pushes too much, she pushes too far to get what she wants. And she just becomes a bit aggravating and a bit annoying to me. Her girlfriend, Rebecca, I would say I liked more so. I didn't mind the guy that played Margot's brother, Chase. But as the movie goes on, it kind of does your typical found footage, haunted tricks. Although, there's some decent sequences here. And that's what I mean, that at the end of the day, I didn't hate the film. I thought it was alright. I thought it was decent. But I didn't feel like anything I would ever hurry back to rewatch again. But I've seen much, much worse. Because like I said, I don't think the acting was bad. Although Margot, sometimes her hyperness kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But there's some decent moments of suspense. Like there's a bit where one of the characters, they're filming and they do like a selfie, but unbeknownst to her, but we see as the viewer, the bed behind her is bloody with looks like a ghost in it. There's some decent scenes of creepiness. There's a few clown mannequins, which they kind of look like the Terrifier clown guy. And they definitely have a creepy vibe to them, creepy look to them. There are bits that are trying to be a bit more subtle. Like throughout the film, there's this red ball as a clown's nose that keeps showing up where it's not supposed to show up. There's a bit where one of the characters, they hear something and they look down the hall and they see a shadow go into a room over here, and they see like a shadow's moving, and your mind's like trying to fill up what could be in there, what is making those shadows. There's a bit where someone looks far away and you're about this, you see like what might be a hand, and someone trying to poke their head out with a very weird looking mask. So once in a while there's a decent bit of suspense. I thought one of the better ones, again, spoilers, starting now spoilers, is there's a bit where Rebecca, the girlfriend, is doing a presentation, because Margot is all about this going to haunted places stuff for her hobby. Rebecca, she's the bread maker, so to speak. She needs to use what little bit of service they have for this computer presentation. But as she's showing it, these pictures that are showing up are not what she took, and she's getting more and more confused. And the more you sift through the pictures, you realize the pictures add up to what's behind her. So there's a picture where there's someone sitting at a desk, and she realizes it's her. And kind of she's looking back. I thought it would have been even better if she did another picture, and then you see like a still picture of her looking back. It's like, oh god. I think that would have been more effective on a subtle, creepy climax to that scene. But they try to go a bit more of the shock value where she hits a few more buttons and then there's a picture of like her here and there's a ghost lady like right here and then she freaks out. Now, like I said, spoilers, so be warned. I guess if you're a fan of the franchise, it gives you a bit of backstory, I should say, of this backdrop of these areas, these locations, the connection between the hotel in the previous films and the manor here, how they relate to each other, these clown mannequins, which I think were in the previous films, how everything relates to each other. And like I said, there's a couple of decent creepy moments. I said, one more time, the acting is not bad. Although, again, I would say I prefer the two commentators more so than some of the characters. Like I said, not that the brother and the girlfriend, Rebecca, they're not bad. So. But just something about the actors and as the commentators, I kind of want to see more of their story. And I thought they had a little bit more presence. But I try to talk around in circles because, well, again, I don't think this is a bad film. I think if you're gun-ho into found footage films, why not give this a look? You could do a lot worse, although you could do better as well. It does follow into the typical tropes, cliches of the format. For example, people doing very stupid things. They see something, they walk towards it, or they see something, they do something they should not do, or what they should do, as in drop the camera and get the hell out of Dodge, they don't. For example, there's a bit where the guy, the brother, when he sees the shadows, he walks towards it. I'd be like, okay, if you're calling and your sister and her girlfriend's not saying anything, at the very least, it's an intruder. So get the hell out of there, get out of the place, and, don't come back. Or as soon as the guy shot the footage of the hand and someone poked out with the creepy mask, they should have been out of there just like that. Now, on two of the three characters, they do decide to go, but then they're talked fairly easily to stay one more night, which is the big mistake. I'd be like, no, I'm not staying for one more second. I'm not staying for one more breath of air. I'm gone. Adios, muchachos. And I think it would have been more, I don't want to say realistic, but more intriguing. I've said this before in some other found footage films, that if someone just left and said, goodbye, ciao. Because that would just seem, that would be more relatable. Because in a genre that you really gotta swallow a lot of disbelief of why do they keep shooting, why do they go towards the sound, why do they do this, why do they do that, as if they're in the middle of a damn Scooby-Doo episode. It's a lot to take in, but a lot of times if you're into the genre, you just go along with it. But sometimes you're like, can we be a little bit smarter, or a little bit wittier, or a little bit more creative? This came out in 2023, not 2013, or it's a somewhat newer film. We did do a little bit more with this, so I think it would have been better if the Rebecca character left, said I'm done, and you have Rebecca and Margot went there with their car, and then the brother came in his car, and then she's like, you know what, I'm going. And then you can have maybe this kind of drama and tension where, again, her hobby versus this woman's job. And a little bit more character development where this becomes a breaking point. And Rebecca makes the decision where she leaves her girlfriend, she gets in the car, and then boom, the third commentator is Rebecca. She drives away, it goes to black, we fade in from black, and there's Rebecca sitting there. She's like teary-eyed, or she's sad, and she starts telling her side of this, her story, and then we could get even more of an emotional baggage. I think that would be even more tragic. I know you're saying, what do you mean? I mean, by the end, like a lot of found footage, all three of them die. But I think it would have got a bit more of a nice emotional core if now you're listening and watching the regrets of a loved one leaving her girlfriend. On the one hand, thinking, well, you survived. If you would have stayed, you would have died. But at the same time, she feels like she could have tried more, tried harder to convince her. Part of her maybe will say that maybe part of me wishes I would have stayed there and died with her. There's a lot more character and drama and, again, emotional core I think you could really milk out of it. That's just me. Instead, the clowns, there's a scare where they pop up in closets. They say they'll leave tomorrow. During the night, they're in separate rooms. Chase wakes up and is wondering, someone keeps knocking on my door. Knocking on my door. He turns, and the door opens, and one of the mannequin clowns are there. Now, granted, number one, I don't know why he would not be screaming bloody murder, and if so, you would think the other people would have heard that. Number two, he's like trying to get away, but he's like creeping, walking to get away. And he takes the camera. And I'm sitting there going, okay, if I have this Terrifier-looking mannequin clown stalking towards me with the I kill you eyes, the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I'm not carrying a camera. I'm not trying to tiptoe through the tulips. I'm getting out of Dodge like a runaway freight train. But hey, what do I know? I guess that's just me. Drop the camera and make a run. Be the running man. Be Mr. Ben Richards. But no, they don't do that. So of course he dies because he's an idiot. So then our two characters wake up. The third is missing. The sister, of course, no, I want to stay because I want to make sure maybe he'll get back. But the girlfriend is like, no, we need to get the hell out of here. The battery of the car is dead. They try to make a run for it. But then they stop because there's a couple cult members in sheets that I guess knew that these people were here, unless they just live in the woods and wait for anyone to come by. Granted, a part of me is like, I'd rather deal with the people in cloaks than ghost mannequin clown mannequins. I'm like, do I want to deal with ghostly clown mannequins, or do I want to deal with guys with sheets on? Maybe I want to deal with the guys with sheets on, but instead, they go back. They hold themselves up. They separate because the sister thinks she got a text from her brother, which I won't know why. Remind me a little bit of Blair Witch, where there's three people, then one is gone, and one's trying to look for him, and the other's like, we need to get out of here. And then by the end, one thinks that they hear the other person and makes them separate more. Like when Heather thinks she hears Josh and goes, no, actually Mike thinks he hears Josh and goes down. They separate more. He gets put in the corner. Here, she thinks she gets a text from her brother. She thinks she hears her brother, goes there. While that happens, her girlfriend, there's that ghost lady in the bed, grabs her. The sister finds her brother dead. His eyes looks like they're plucked out. The mannequin clown goes towards her, grabs her. And then you're supposed to have this backstory where at one point someone tried to take her as a kid. And that might have been some of the clowns when she was a kid. But also these clown mannequins are related to the previous films, and they try to make that all together. While you telling the plot, the story beat for beat, in case people never want to see this, and then if they don't, then they don't have to, because I just gave away everything. So you wouldn't be missing much. Like I said, the third act is everybody dies, and you have the two ladies going to complete hysterics. A lot of shrieking, a lot of loud screaming, a lot of annoyance because of that. And not a lot of creativity, not a lot of ingenuity. And then it just kind of ends. And then after the end credits, one of the commentators mentions a piece of info that might lead to a fifth movie. But I don't know, I mean, if these films do that well on streaming, I guess they could keep going however long they want to. And apparently, I don't know if I've heard that, but God apparently don't like that idea. Just heard like a thump. So I think God just shot lightning down like a couple miles away, saying, like someone slamming down a basketball. BS bullshit. I'm tired of these movies. It's like, it's not that bad. It's not that good, but it's not that bad. I've seen much worse. Trust me, I've seen much worse. But like I said, if you like found footage films, sure, you could give it a watch. But as I said, there's a couple decent creepy moments. Like I said, the acting's not that bad. If you're into the franchise, maybe you'll get a bit more into the mythology of it. Like I said, by the end, it kind of becomes pretty typical, pretty of the norm. Screaming, hysterics, camera falling to the ground, or whatever the case may be. Seen that many, many times, so yeah, take that for you will. Did not love it, did not hate it. It's kind of just there, at least for me. But with that said, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys later. Bye bye for now.